We had a very interesting day yesterday. The President of the United States looked straight at the sun, and Tucker Carlson just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then he went on to basically play the part of Richard Nixon. So first, the Tucker Carlson. This is just hysterical. This is just the audio. This is from Fox News last night. Tucker Carlson.
Even the president saw it, but in a move that is not a complete surprise, he looked directly at the sun without any glasses. Perhaps the most impressive thing any president's ever done. If you missed out,
yeah, perhaps the most impressive thing any president has ever done. Now, I don't honestly know if Tucker Carlson meant that totally tongue-in-cheek, or if he was just, like, I mean, he's Trump's #1 cheerleader. Well, number 2 to Sean Hannity, I suppose. But in any case, the President of the United States talked about war and peace and how, a war could be won, right? And we're going to do it. Here he is. Nate with the first clip.
Tonight, I do not tell you that the war in Vietnam is the war to end wars, but I do say this. I have initiated a plan which will end this war in a way that will bring us closer to that great goal, to which Woodrow Wilson and every American president in our history has been dedicated, the goal of a just and lasting peace. As president, I hold the responsibility for choosing the best path to that goal and then leading the nation along it. I pledge to you tonight that I shall meet this responsibility with all of the strength and wisdom I can command, in accordance with your hopes, mindful of your concerns, sustained by your prayers. Thank you, and good night.
Well, Nixon didn't even have a teleprompter, and he did a better job of reading than Trump. But in my opinion, this is exactly what we're seeing. I watched a little bit of morning television this morning with my jaw dropped. I mean, on both MSNBC and CNN, there were guests saying, "Yeah, we have to do this to make sure that we don't have another 9/11." Seriously, I mean, repeatedly. And all the pundits, all the inside the Beltway conventional wisdom crowd are all going, yep, that's what we got to do. We got to prevent another 9/11. Come on. After 9/11, the Taliban, who we had given $40 million to just a few months earlier to stop the opium poppies in Afghanistan, the Taliban just. They said, Mullah Omar came out and said, give us even the smallest shred of evidence that Osama bin Laden was involved with 9/11, and we will gladly arrest him and turn him over to a third country. And George W. Bush said, no, I want to have a war. We're going to start bombing your country. We don't really want Osama bin Laden. If he's at large, then, he's a bigger-than-life figure, and which makes me, George W. Bush, a bigger-than-life figure in pursuing him. So I can be, Batman, and he'll be the juggler. I'll be Superman. He'll be Lex Luthor, or whatever. So we got this cynical war, just like we got the cynical war with the Gulf of Tonkin resolution back in 68, 69, whatever year it was. Must have been prior to 69. Must have been more like 65 or 66. I forget what year it was. But in any case, we got lied into another war. Yeah, it was 64. It was the Gulf of Tonkin. Thank you, Troy. If we don't, the slogan. Did you, Nate? You were unable to find a clip of Nixon saying this, I'm guessing. You couldn't find one. Okay. Okay. Those of you who are old enough to remember will remember Nixon and many other of the people back in the 60s and 70s talking about the Vietnam War, talking about the domino theory, right? If Vietnam falls, next is Cambodia, Cambodia falls, next is Laos, Laos falls, next is Thailand, Thailand falls, and next is Los Angeles. No, I'm not making this up. If you're old enough to remember, you'll remember that this was the logic of the Vietnam War. If we don't fight them here, if we don't fight them there, we're going to have to fight them here. Now, I have not seen Vietnamese forces invading the United States since we pulled out of Vietnam in 73 or 74. But you know, this is crazy stuff. You can't have a functioning democracy in a country with 70, 80% illiteracy, which is Afghanistan. You can't have a functioning democracy in a country where the annual gross domestic product, or the GDP before we started bombing them, was $2 billion a year. That's nothing. The median family income was $700 a year in Afghanistan. It was the second poorest country in the world, behind Burkina Faso, when we started bombing them. We didn't have to bomb them back to the Stone Age. Half the country was literally living in the Stone Age. And you're going to turn this into a liberal democracy? I mean, I just don't see it happening. Breitbart, this is very interesting. Breitbart last night, the headline, I'll just read the headlines to you. Trump reverses course, will send more troops to Afghanistan, defends flip-flop in somber speech, unlimited war. And then some of the smaller articles. We are not nation building again, we are killing terrorists. Echoes Obama, blank check rhetoric. His McMaster's voice. Is Trump's Afghanistan policy any different from Obama's? Exclusive America First rallies canceled, replaced with online day of action over threats of, that's talking to his base. And Paul Ryan on Charlottesville, there are no such. So that's, and by the way, I was, last night was also the hour-long infomercial for Paul Ryan's presidential ambitions, put on by Jake Tapper and CNN. And, Trump is not all that happy with Paul Ryan right now. You almost wonder, did he schedule this for last night just because CNN scheduled this thing with Paul Ryan? And he wanted to basically take them down? I don't know. I'm just wondering. I think the ultimate, top of the line article or story on this actually came from The Onion, where they're quoting the president. Obviously, they made this up, but they're saying that Trump said last night, "Well, let me be perfectly clear." I can't do a good Trump imitation, so I'll just do a guy in the White House imitation. "Let me be perfectly clear. America will not rest until our enemies have been defeated and the Afghan people are free, unless I start to get frustrated by all this, come across some other thing that seems like a bigger deal, or see a segment on TV that tells me we should do something else. Nothing, aside from maybe a personal feud with a media personality that occupies all my time and energy, will defeat our resolve." Right. So, was Trump just trying to trash Paul Ryan? I don't know. But the reality is that the war in Afghanistan was won just a few weeks after we started it. We pushed the Taliban out. We deposed Mullah Omar. We took over the country. We took down the government. We did the same thing in Iraq in a matter of weeks. And what's been going on for the last 16 years is not a war. It's an occupation. And occupations don't end well. The other meme that I heard this morning, Joe Scarborough kept saying, "Well, maybe Afghanistan is just like South Korea." Excuse me? South Korea is a pluralistic democracy with a very, very high literacy rate and a high, the average income there is right where it is, more or less what it is in the United States. I mean, it's a fully developed country. But his point is, we've got 30,000 troops in South Korea. Well, yeah, we do, but it's not because we need to pacify South Korea. They're there to protect South Korea from North Korea, at least in theory. I mean, you could argue that they're just there as, U.S. empire. But, whatever it is. So the weakness of the stories that are being pushed in the media to support this war/occupation is pathetic. But the military-industrial complex needs their billions. The Anadolu Agency, the Turkish news agency, reporting more than half of the $76 billion worth of U.S. military aid that went to Afghanistan has been looted and embezzled. Wonderful.